Good things, good things. All right, so let's go to the defense now. So the defense, the first quarter kind of doing their thing, nothing really great, and then all of a sudden they turned it on. Was that? I mean, what was that? What changed? Did they?
I don't
what
know
were they doing? Aaron Curry looked good. He was really aggressive. Every time he touched a guy, you heard him. It seemed like, and they seemed to be doing the right plays, but they were allowing yardage.
I think it comes down to the components start to come together for you on defense. You get Josh Wilson returning this week, and he would have been a helpful element against Peyton Manning. Him coming back moves Kelly Jennings to that third. That helps your secondary out, just kind of fortifies things back there, and allows your linebackers to just do their thing in the run stoppage against that little pocket Hercules Maurice Jones-Drew. They totally shut Maurice down at the start of the first quarter. That was the key for them, is getting that running game untracked by the Jaguars, and then they got the pass rush sort of second. And then once the pass rush came, it never stopped. There was no, I don't know, I didn't have an official count, but it seemed like 90 to 95% of the time that Jacksonville dropped back to throw the football, Garrard was getting hit, the Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback. And that's just, you get that kind of, I mean, you're good if you get some hits a game, you're good if you get maybe 10 hits a game, and then you'll get 4 sacks, but to just get almost like 20 to 25 hits over the course of a game on the quarterback, unprecedented, and that shows you that that's the defense they want to build, is this defense that just gets after you with pressure constantly. And then, we're going to get guys back, hopefully, but even with what the guys we got in there right now, they've shown that, that's a shutout. Missing, I still think we're missing 2 or 3 guys from the defense. And
they do have Torrey Holt, and he did make some great catches. I mean, that guy just, has always been lighting us up, but he's just one of those guys. But
it's weird. In any sport, there's always a certain guy on an opposing team who will come in and just, no matter the pitcher you change to, no matter the team you have fielding or on defense or offense, this one guy will just always get you year after year. I mean, Frank Gore this year, we had this huge game we gave up. Who's the last time that we did? In San Francisco against Gore, against the Hawks 2 years ago when Seneca was playing. I mean, it was like a mirror image of that game 2 years ago when he had 2 bust-out runs, Jordan Babineau missing the tackles as he did again this year. I mean, it's weird.
Was it Babineau at the
yeah, Babineau was actually at safety. That was his first time that they put him at strong safety before we brought Brian Russell in. And he had this nightmare tackling game against Gore where his 2 missed tackles were the missed tackles that let Gore go for these huge touchdown runs.
Wow.
So it's things like that happen. Certain guys just bust you up. Holt busts a lot of guys up. The guy's a Hall of Famer, and he was the only guy who went off in this game. Just before we were touching on the defense, and the one guy I want to touch on is my man crush guy because I really want to talk about him, and that's Aaron Curry. And that's, if you didn't watch this game and understand why he was the 4th overall pick in the draft, why he was taken over Sanchez, why he was taken over Eugene Monroe, who was turned into a turnstile this game by Darryl Tapp, then I don't know that you don't understand football. The guy,
you just don't understand.
You don't know football. Turn off the television and go watch polo or tennis, because the guy absolutely controlled everything from the defensive standpoint, meaning that he was in on every tackle, it seemed like. When he was asked to blitz, he got to the quarterback. He wasn't an empty linebacker blitz that just got rung up by a tackle. Whoever he was matched up against, he got around that guy, and he hit that quarterback. And most of the time, Garrard did a good job of getting rid of the ball before the pressure got to him. They were horrible passes. They were borderline, what is it, when they throw the quarterback... Gosh, my brain can't throw it up. Intentional grounding.
Oh, yeah.
It was their borderline intentional grounding plays, but it was smart by Garrard, but better by Curry. And so in every facet of the game in that respect, he just missed an interception at one point, right over the top of his fingertips. He was in the right position all game long, playing intelligently, under control, and being impactful. I mean, somebody called him a rolling bowling ball, and that's what he is. He hits them. Watch how he hits people, and then watch the way they get up off the turf. It seems really rare that he just sort of tackles a guy and then stands up and then that guy bounces back up like it was no thing. Football players are pretty tough guys. They don't like to show you pain. So when you've got player after player barely just easing himself up off the turf, holding his arm, kind of just in obvious pain, it's telling you that Curry causes harm when he hits you.
Opponent breakdown. So, we're going to talk about who each week we're going to try to do a new segment where we're going to break down the opposite team that we're going to play on Sunday or Monday. And that way we can kind of give you a good thing to kind of watch, the key guys that you're going to want to watch on their side. What we could maybe look for our team to maybe do, not do. and just kind of review it, so you can kind of be more prepared than just watching the game and going, oh, fun, So
we won, we lost.
Yeah. So let's go through that real quick. So Cardinals, Super Bowl last year, barely lost. They've got Fitzgerald, who's been on every cover of everything. The guy's, in commercials. He's on Wheaties boxes. He's on the cover of Madden. He's everywhere.
Right.
They've got Bolden. They've got, Warner, who I think is an amazing quarterback. The guy's just, he's got his tendencies that, are problems. But, I mean, the guy can slice and dice a defense like, almost any other quarterback can't do. I mean, he's just really good at it. And, they've got a good running back, even though they haven't been getting a lot of yards this year. Beanie Wells is a good guy.
Right.
So let's kind of go through that and kind of see, they're an offensive team, right?
Yeah, well, they're an offensive team first and foremost. I mean, they're staying to the same formula, which last year was pass the ball out of 3 and 4 wide receiver sets, run the ball not so good, on defensively stop the run very well, and give up some pass yardage. It's pretty much the same modus operandi this season.
They're kind of like they're depending on their offense, right? Because they're going to give up points. That's kind of the deal. Like they know their defense is going to give up points, but they know that they have a good enough offense to be able to make up for that.
I think for the most part, I think they've hoped that their defense is going to step into that same dominant territory that the Hawks are hoping their team steps into.
Well, they switched to a 3-4, right?
They did switch to a 3-4. I think that bringing in Beanie Wells, I took as a sign, and they brought in a new offensive coordinator because they lost their offensive coordinator to the Chiefs, who's the head coach now. So they were going to go to more of a Pittsburgh Steelers style play, they said at the start of the year. What's happened is that they've still not been able to run the ball effectively. They're starting guys, Tim Hightower's their starting running back. He's averaging like 3.3 yards per carry. They just have not been effective doing it, so they've had to drop back and go back to Warner just heaving it a bunch of times a game. And again, it's been fairly effective for them in that Bolden, Breston, and then the Fitzgerald, who you mentioned, are all getting their catches. So he's definitely getting the ball to all the different guys. He's not just locking in on Fitzgerald or locking in on Bolden. It's going to be a game where it's going to come down to because we're not going to get our cornerbacks all on the field. I don't think we're going to see four cornerbacks for their 4 wide receiver sets. Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of them going to those 3 and 4 wide receiver sets and us staying in our base system with our linebackers.
Oh wow!
Because Herring, who's the starting for Leroy Hill right now at left outside linebacker, he's a converted safety. His thing he does great. The best thing that he does is cover. Curry, very good in coverage. Lofa, very good in coverage. They did last week against Jaguars. Jaguars went to 3 wide receiver sets. We would stay in our base defense. It'll be interesting to see this week if we do the same thing against Kurt Warner. That's at least defensively. Offensively,
well, do we have a choice though? I mean, really, wouldn't you rather have
I would rather
Tupu out there than
at this point?
Well, who do they take out? Who do they rotate out? They would rotate out.
It would have to be Herring would go out, and then you would bring in Kelly Jennings, who you'd move to the outside corner, and then you'd move Josh Wilson into the inside nickel corner position on those type of situations, which I'm not opposed to because I think that as long as you can keep him on the outside to like guy like Breston or even a guy like Bolden, if you got those guys on the outside with Kelly, he's fine. It's when you get him on the inside and when teams are able to take advantage of his lack of physicality.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think that they can score and will score. I mean, it's not going to be a shutout. They're gonna score. They've got guys that can catch the ball anywhere on the field, and Warner can throw it. If Warner doesn't get hurt, they're scoring. I mean, it's just straight up. That's just what's going to happen.
Well, the key is that
hopefully the defense can do something, and this will be interesting for me. I think this is the best game for us to really judge. Besides having Trufant in the game, right? There's nobody else that we're waiting for in there.
Leroy Hill.
Leroy Hill, that's true. We don't have Leroy Hill in there,
and Patrick Kearney.
Well, but we still got.
No, I mean we're signed. I'm just saying. These are all the guys we're missing still. That we've still.
Yeah, but who's Kearney? No, I mean not who's Kearney, but who is playing Kearney's position right now?
Daryl Tapp. I guess would be
and Daryl Tapp. I mean he's been good. So
I don't have a problem.
That's not as big of a deal. I'm okay with that. What I'm worried about is just. Who's playing the corners, and when you've got a team
absence,
that's what's going to hurt. And it's they're a pass heavy team, and we're going to miss it. And